Have you ever considered the enigma that is natural selection? Is it a cause or an effect? A force of nature or a figment of our imagination? Welcome to a journey into the heart of this debate. On one side we have the Darwinists, who speak of natural selection as a cause. Much like Charles Darwin himself, they see natural selection as an agent with almost limitless creative power, capable of driving the evolution from simple organisms to complex life forms. Such vision, it seems, endows natural selection with an ability that transcends human intelligence, almost attributing it the capacity for intelligent design. As Ernst Mayr claimed, every aspect of the wonderful design, so admired by the natural theologians, could be explained by natural selection. However, this perspective has not been unchallenged. Adam Sedgwick questioned Charles Darwin himself, stating, "As to your grand principle, natural selection, what is it but a secondary consequence of supposed or known primary facts? Yet, you write of natural selection as if it were done consciously by the selecting agent. In essence, the argument here is that natural selection is an effect, not a cause, and that it has no actual causality of its own." Even more striking is the admission from the late William Provine, a professor of evolutionary biology. He stated, "Natural selection does not act on anything, nor does it select for or against, force, maximize, create, modify, shape, operate, drive, favor, maintain, push, or adjust. Natural selection does nothing. Natural selection as a natural force belongs in the insubstantial category already populated by phlogiston or Newton's ether. Having natural selection select is nifty because it excuses the necessity of talking about the actual causation of natural selection. The debate intensifies when we consider trying to measure natural selection as a force. David Coppage, for instance, observed, "To measure something, it needs units. How is fitness to be measured? What are the units? Physicists have degrees, Kelvin, ergs and joules of energy, and Faradays of electricity. But do 100 Spencers on a heckelometer equal 10 Darwins of fitness?" And as physicist Brian Miller also noted, "Imagine attempting to craft an evolutionary barometer that measures the selection pressure driving one organism to transform into something different, for instance, a fish into an amphibian. The fact that no such instrument could be constructed highlights the fictitious nature of such mystical forces." To further drive home the fictitious nature of natural selection, a decades-long study on fruit flies found that, despite decades of sustained selection in relatively small, sexually reproducing laboratory populations, selection did not lead to the fixation of newly arising unconditionally advantageous alleles. And although natural selection has scant, if any, scientific evidence going for it, and although it has no units to measure it by, Darwinists will often falsely imagine that natural selection is a cause that has virtually unlimited creative power. Darwin himself imagined as such. As Neil Thomas noted, "For Darwin, the powers of natural selection transcended human intelligence to such a degree that he came exceedingly close to imputing to it the capacity for intelligent design. It was only belatedly that he succumbed to colleagues' numerous objections about his inappropriate use of the term natural selection, conceding in a letter to Charles Lyell, 'Talking of natural selection, if I had to commence de novo, I would have used natural preservation.' As Thomas further noted, the letter to Lyell involved a truly fatal concession, which, had it been analyzed dispassionately at the time, could, and arguably should, have halted the onward march of Darwinism there and then in the fall of 1860. Natural preservation can by definition only be passive, rather than actively productive in the formation of new body parts, let alone whole new species. The Darwinian theory of an advance from organic simplicity to complexity, from microbes to man, must inevitably fall after such a major semantic retreat. In short, Charles Darwin conceding to Lyell that he should have used the term natural preservation instead of using the term natural selection is nothing less than an honest confession by Darwin himself that natural selection has no power to create anything, as he had, and Darwinists today falsely imagine it to have. In conclusion, the term natural selection belongs far more in the realm of science fiction and not in the realm of science fact. As the late Stephen Jay Gould himself once honestly admitted, Rudyard Kipling asked how the leopard got its spots, the rhino its wrinkled skin. He called his answers just so stories. When evolutionists study individual adaptations, when they try to explain form and behavior by reconstructing history and assessing current utility, they also tell just so stories, and the agent is natural selection. Virtuosity in invention replaces testability as the criterion for acceptance.